Yeah, welcome along to episode 4 of the new West Cork League podcast. I'm your host, Ger McCarthy. You can follow me on Twitter at Ger McCarthy74. And as always, I'm joined by my partner in crime, the PRO of the West Cork League, Mike Helen. Mike, how are you?
Hey, Ger, how are things?
Another week, another bunch of results, some outstanding individual results, some high scores as well. So I guess there's only one place to start, and that's the Premier HighSpecCars.com Premier Division, and the results from Sunday the 22nd of September. So Clonakilty Town travelled to Bunratty United and win 7-2. Drina Rangers travelled to Toher Celtic and win 2-1. And Doris also on the road travel away to Dunmanway Town, but in this instance lose 2-1 to the home side, Dunmanway Town. So let's start at the top there with the league leaders, and Clonakilty Town putting 7 past what was, to be fair, a very, very young Bunratty United team, a team that's missing quite a lot of regulars, I would imagine, between Gabriel Rangers, GA involvement, and Bantry Blues as well. Johnny Lee grabbing the headlines there, Mike, with 5 of Clonakilty Town's 7 goals. Ian O'Driscoll, staunch centre back there for Clon, and Chris Collins, players emerging there on the wing and in midfield, racking up 7 goals. A convincing win, but I think you have to take into account that Bunratty were very, very young on the day.
Yeah, another good win for Clantown, keep them top of the league. But yeah, as you said, they were playing a very, very young Bunratty team. We see James O'Regan and Darbourne, 2 young lads there scoring for Bunratty. It was always going to be a tough task for Bunratty, especially with Gabriel Rangers playing on the same day and missing some experience. But look, don't take it away from Clantown. 5 goals is always hard to get, and Johnny Lee, he's on form for Clantown, so you know they're top of the league and they keep winning, and that's all Johnny Mousy Lee is worried about, Ger.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing, Mike. Years gone by, Clonakilty Town would have had a very talented squad. They have had a decent squad for the last couple of years, but games like that, going away from home, they wouldn't have managed. Like they may not have come away with the 3 points, let alone 7 goals.
Yeah, that's true. Like I suppose if you go down through this past seasons, if Clantown were going to Bunratty, they wouldn't have fancied making the journey to the town park. But with the addition of players from Clan AFC and the talented players that are already there in Clantown, they're going to be strong. And look, there's no team will want to play Clantown this year. But look, as I said, it's a perfect start for them. And next week now they have Drina Rangers away, and that'll be the real test for them.
It will indeed. And speaking of Drina Rangers, the Cannon Crowley Park club made the short trip to Toher Celtic. A team that we've been a little bit critical of, I suppose, or at least I have anyway, and that they've been slow starters in each of their 3 games that they had drawn coming into this game. Wasn't the case this time around, though.
No, Johnny Hurley put them ahead very, very quick in the game. And it was actually 1-0 to Toher. It was 1-1 at half time. But yeah, it was a very quick start for Toher Celtic, and I suppose look, they know themselves that they were slow starting in the last 3 games, so they probably needed to set that straight, and they did against Drina Rangers. But Drina Rangers, battling team, they showed champion quality there now coming back, especially in Toher Celtic. It's a tough spot to go on Toher, it's a tight pitch. But Drina Rangers pulled out of the bag, and they're showing now that they mean business with Daniel McCarthy and Darren Beamish scoring the winner in the 80th minute. So it's a massive 3 points for Drina Rangers.
It is, and I think considering that they didn't really play particularly well against Doris the week before, it was only the last 5-10 minutes that they really got going. Interesting also that you see the 2 names, Daniel McCarthy, young player, and Darren Beamish getting on the score sheet, not being over-reliant on the Barry O'Driscolls and the Tomas Conleys like they have in the past. Exactly.
That's always a good sign in a team when you see 2 lads that aren't always on the score sheet. I think Daniel McCarthy's right back. 20-year-old, speaking of Don Hurley, he's high praise for Daniel. And, Darren Beamish doesn't always get on the score sheet, but it's a great sign for him. On the Toher Celtic side of things, played 4, now 3 points there after dropping 9. So it's going to be tough for them now to push on towards the top. But, super win for Drina Rangers, and that'll give them confidence on.
Yeah, and that's just the thing, Mike. I mean, like, Tor aren't a bad team, and they haven't been playing that particularly badly, and yet they find themselves after 4 games still looking for their first win. It just shows you how tight it is in this league.
Yeah, 100%. And I think, for Celtic they're missing Ian Crowley as well. Ian Crowley broke a bone in his leg there. I think he actually did it against Ballyhob. So he was missing for the last 2 games, and he's going to be a massive loss for Tor Celtic. He's their captain, and he's the main man in the back line with Kevin Cotter. So, that's a big blow to Tor Celtic.
Yes, indeed it is, but more than capable of bouncing back. We move on to the final game of last weekend's Premier HighSpecCars.com Premier Division, and it sounds, by all accounts, like this was quite a good game as well. Doris, just up from the championship, going very, very well in the early weeks, but not getting it their own way against the Dunmanway Town team that really needed a win.
Yeah, Reece Coakley and Mark Buckley in the score sheet there for Dunmanway Town with Dan Murray for Doris. Dunmanway had a very, very strong team out there. They had Fionn Hurley, the Cork under 20, playing with them as well. So they have a very strong team. On the Doris side, I think half their team were playing below, just down the road in Sam Maguire pitch, playing for the Bantry team. So they had a weak team out against Dunmanway. They missed a penalty as well. So it just shows, with a lot of players missing for Doris, they're still able to mix it with the big boys.
It does. I was surprised at this because I figured Doris, having seen them a couple of occasions, that they'd be good enough to get at least a point from that trip to Dunmanway. But I think that could, when Dunmanway look back at the end of the season, that could be a very, very significant victory for them, because they didn't play particularly well in the opening day against Clontown. But to get off the mark, they've only played twice like Ballyhob, so there's still a lot of room for improvement. But winning at home is key, as you know, if you want to be champions again. Yeah,
100%. And Dunmanway know all about it. They are the champions. They know how to win. I think last year, the last three games in the league, and they still came out and won the league, So these boys know how to win games. They know what it takes to win a league. And, they have a few additions there now this year, and they've got a very, very strong panel of players. And I reckon John Buckley will be very happy with the 3 points at home. And, there'll be a lot of confidence taken from that game.
Yes, indeed. John Buckley will be happy, as he always is when Dunmanway play well, let alone win. Right, just to wrap up the Premier High Spec Cars, our Premier Division from last weekend, a quick check on the league table. Clonakilty Town lead the way, 4 games played with 10 points. Drina Rangers now up into second, a game behind, but with 7. And then you have a clutch of clubs, Doris and Ballyhob both on 4 points, and Toher and Dunmanway on 3, and Lyre and Bunratty bringing up the rear. But a division below in the O'Brien Waterservices.com Championship, another weekend of high scores, and a brand new leader in Riverside Athletic, who now lead the way by 2 points. And that is down to quite a comprehensive victory by the new league leaders away to Baltimore, Mike.
Yeah, huge win for Riverside, and it was very important, as we all know, the Spartak had Mizzen at home on the same day. But huge win, 5-1 away. This name has popped up again, Jake Draper. He got a hat-trick. He got a couple of goals before that. He's only after turning 18, same as Aaron O'Driscoll. So they're an exciting team now, and they're banging in the goals. And I don't know, will anyone stop them in Championship the way they're playing? They're absolutely playing super soccer at the moment. On the Baltimore side, I'd say bitterly disappointed to go down 5-1, to get a couple of players back from Island Rovers, like Dan McCone was playing, Conor Harrington was back for them, so they had a couple of players back, so tough defeat for them, but outstanding from Riverside.
Sorry, as you said, like an outstanding win, and all made all the more important by the fact that the team with a 100% record coming into the weekend, Spartak Mosgrove, were held 2-2 at home by Mizzen, a team that we've talked about. And I don't know, it's obviously 2 points dropped at home, Mike, in terms of Spartak Mosgrove's promotion hopes, but a very, very good point for Mizzen.
A very good point for Mizzen, yeah. Tough journey for them as well when they were going up there missing players. Their captain, Patrick Scully, was away, and they had a couple other lads missing as well. So they were going up there with an understrength team, and they took the lead 1-0. And Spartak being Spartak, they'll always battle and they'll always keep going to the bitter end. Rory Keller got on the score sheet again. So huge point for Mizzen, and not a bad point for Spartak either, because Mizzen are a tough side.
Yes, indeed, and Spartak will be much stronger. I know Newcestown are still in the football championship, but they have players to come back, so they are certainly not out of it by any means. Now, Kilbrittain Rovers FC were not in action this weekend, and Dunmanway Town B had an opportunity, as did Salan, to overtake them in the table, but Dunmanway travelled to Cannon Crawley Park for a local derby with Drina Rangers B, but could only fashion a 1-1 draw, Mike.
Yeah, not a bad result for Dunmanway Town B, though, in fairness. They're lying fourth now in the league on 5 points, so they're still in the mix. Drina Rangers B really needed to win there at home. Dropping points at home again, not ideal for them, but very good point for Dunmanway B and Stephen Collins there. They're all reliable for Dunmanway, hitting the net there. Yes,
indeed. Another club not certainly able to score goals. They're up to 12 goals now already this season. Are Salan. Now, they made the trip to Ulta, but had to settle for a point after a 2-2 draw.
Yeah, great point for Alta Celtic. Salan, I would have fancied Salan there to beat Alta Celtic, but it just shows Alta Celtic after having a great start. They're on 4 points out of 3, and Salan are picking points up away from home now as well. So not a bad result for Salan. As I said before, I think Salan are going to pick most of their points up at home. So, they'll be happy with that. They'll take that.
Indeed, they will. Keeps them in the hunt of a clutch of clubs there in the middle of the table. And one result that did actually pop out to me on the day itself was Castletown Celtic 2, Skibbereen 3. Now, we've spoken about Castletown before, Mike. They're certainly not a bad team, and yet they find themselves bottom of the table and still looking for their first win. Whilst if you contrast that with Skibbereen, really, really badly needed a victory. They hadn't managed to register one coming into this weekend. So a 3-2 win, morale boosting, and could be a significant result come the end of the season if Skibbereen can build on it.
Yeah, absolutely. A huge win for Skibbereen. A big 3 points and a badly needed 3 points for John Allen's side. Jamie Horan, Niall Regan and Richie Fitzgerald. Jamie Horan's an up-and-coming player for the Skibbereen side, so it's great to see him getting on the score sheet. But on the Castletown Celtic side, Jack Callan, he's a seasoned player for Castletown. He's the all-reliable. He got 2. They're struggling. They really, really needed to get that home win, and that victory for Skibbereen now will lift Skibbereen immensely. But what can Castletown do next now to get the 3 points? I don't know. They're in a bit of bother up there by the looks of it.
Yeah, I mean, we talk about how difficult it is in the Premier High Spec Cars.com Premier Division. Just 1 or 2 disappointing results and you can find yourself down the bottom of the table. You and I both know how difficult it is, and as it has been to play Castletown down through the years, they just need to find a win somewhere in the next couple of weeks just to kickstart the second half of the campaign.
Yeah, definitely. And once they get a win,
exactly,
they'll keep motoring on. They're resilient. They're a resilient club, and they won't give up by any means. It's just a matter of when they get the first win. I think they'll keep going, and I wouldn't be surprised, if they have a late surge in the league. As we said, they're a hard team to beat, especially in cup competitions. They're very, very competitive, but it's only a matter of time until they get the win, and when they do, I say they'll motor on then,
Indeed, plenty of experience there and also a fine pitch, so there's no reason Castletown can't kick on. A quick check of the O'BrienWaterServices.com Championship table. Riverside Athletic now sitting top of the pile with maximum points, the only West Cork League team, the only club in the region with maximum points after 4 rounds and 12 points. 2 ahead of Spartak Musgrove. Kilbrittain Rovers FC have a game in hand on the top 2, but they're down in third on 6. Dunmanway Town B, Salan, Mizzen and Skibbereen and Ulta, as well as Baltimore, now, there's a lot of them, all within a point of each other, before Castleac, Drina Rangers B and Castletown Celtic bring up the rear. Right, it's time to look ahead now to this coming week's games. We have one midweek fixture involving a West Cork League club, and that is Kilbrittain Rovers FC, Mike. They will be taking part in the opening round of the Munster Junior Cup.
Yeah, they go away and they play UCC, I think, on Wednesday night.
That's right.
In the Mardyke. So, yeah, it's great to see the likes of Kilbrittain Rovers. They're only after coming back in the last couple of years. So it's great to see them in the Munster Junior Cup, especially up in UCC. It'll be a great outing for them. And, hopefully they can do the West Cork League proud, and especially the O'Brien Water Services division proud, and hopefully get a result up in UCC.
Yes, that would be the thing because they would have quite a quick turnaround on that Wednesday because they play the following Saturday at 3 o'clock. They're at home to Spartak Musgrove in the O'Brien Water Services Championship. And cliche alert, but if ever there was a 6-pointer at the top of the table, this is it because Kilbrittain go into the game 4 points behind Spartak, so they cannot afford to lose ground here.
No, and it is a 6-pointer, and it's a huge game, and it could determine the winning of the O'Brien Water Services Championship, even at an early stage. Kilbrittain now will be looking at this, and they'll be licking their lips now at this one because like Kilbrittain have to go up to UCC on a Wednesday night, and they have a short turnaround, as you just said, on the Saturday. It'll be hard for Kilbrittain to turn around in 3 days, but they're at home and they have every chance of beating Spartak, so it's going to be very interesting time.
Yeah, that should be quite a game indeed. And also on Saturday, we have 2 West Cork League clubs involved in FAI Junior Cup second round ties. Dunmanway Town, Premier Division club, travel to Clodove Celtic with a 2 o'clock kickoff. And at the same time, Castleac will have home advantage for the visit of Doolan's Cow. Now, I know a bit about Clodove Celtic, having come across them quite often every summer in the West Cork Masters League over the past number of years. Very well-run club. Play nice, attractive football at Masters level. I would imagine they'll do exactly the same at junior level. That's a tough draw for Dunmanway away from home, Mike.
It's a tough draw for Dunmanway, yeah, but it's a draw that Dunmanway will like. Dunmanway wouldn't be any strangers to Clodove either. They know what they're about, and they know a lot of their players as well. And Dunmanway Town going to Clodove, Dunmanway Town are exciting enough. They've got good players. I know Dunmanway as good as anyone else, unfortunately. But they've got great players, and they're going to be a handful for Clodove. They're going to be a big handful for Clodove. I'd fancy Dunmanway to do it on the Castleac and Doolan's Cow fixture. Same as Kilbrittain. It's brilliant to see the likes of Castleac in the FI Junior Cup, bringing down the likes of Doolan's Cow down to Bandon. Again, it'd be massive result if they can get any bit of a draw or a result there in that game. But look, it's fantastic. It's fantastic to see Castleac competing in this FI Junior Cup.
It is, and we've spoken about them quite a lot over the first couple of weeks of the podcast because they're struggling in the wrong half of the O'BrienWaterServices.com championship, but they have not been playing badly, and they are a very eager club. They're determined to do well. They've got great plans off the pitches, developing the club and developing new clubhouse and pitches. A win here or even a run in the cup, they can forget about their league form for a second. It might spur them on.
100%, yeah. I think the last podcast we were speaking that they've got 2 losses in a row, which might set them back a small bit. So this fixture, there won't be any pressure on them in this fixture. It'll be, the shackles will be off. They can go out and express themselves. They can enjoy themselves, and it'll be a great game for them before they return back to the O'Brien Water Services Championship, because the next battle they have in that league, they must win if they want to get into the top 6. So, that's the way I see it. I think it's a good game for them. Try out new players and, be competitive and drive on for the following week then in the West Cork League.
That's it, and that brings us nicely to next Sunday's fixture list. 3 big games in the Premier HighSpecCars.com Premier Division on Sunday, September the 29th. First up in the morning, it's the top 2 going head-to-head. Drina Rangers at home to Clonakilty Town FC at Cannon Crawley Park with an 11 a.m. kickoff. Durris meet Ballydehob at 11 o'clock, an equally important game for both of those clubs, 3rd and 4th. And at the bottom of the table, second from bottom, Loyer Rovers entertain Bunratty United at 2:30. Let's start with that Ballydehob game, Mike, because you know Ballydehob inside out and you've seen quite a lot of Durris. What are you expecting from that game? Because both teams are on 4 points, even though Ballydehob have played a game less.
Yeah, both teams are on 4 points. It'll be a typical local derby. It's never an easy game against Durris. Both teams will be a small bit under strength with GA and on the Bantry side and the Gable Rangers side. So hopefully it will be a competitive game. I know that for a fact. When we played Durris last year in the Parkway Cup, they gave us a fierce thumping 4-1 in Durris. So look, I know for a fact the Ballydehob boys are dying to get one back over Durris. They'll be looking forward to be playing Durris, but Tyke Sullivan will fancy his chances as well. He was very competitive against Dunmanway Town. Missed the penalty, felt he could have drawn the game, so they're going to be confident. I reckon it'll be a very physical game. There won't be any love lost there. and it'll be tough. It'll be a tough game for both teams, really.
And what about that cracking game at the top of the table? Clonakilty Town 3 points ahead of Drina, even though they've got a game in hand. Both sides unbeaten. And in terms of markers, if you're laying down a marker for future champions, this is an opportunity for Clonakilty Town now to show that they mean business.
Yeah, it's just a pity it's on at 11 o'clock, because if it was in a 2:30, I'd be going to that game with a packet of popcorn with me, because I'd say this is going to be an absolute cracker of a game altogether. This game now is where Clontown, can really lay down the marker and let everyone know that they mean business. It's away in Drina. Drina are very, very good at home, but it's an equally important game for Drina, because they need to set down the marker here. And what other better way would setting down the marker be by saying, we're just after beating Clontown, one of the favourites for the league, a very big physical team. And if Drina Rangers can get the win over them, Drina Rangers are coming back into it now, and they're going to be tough beaten anyway, and Clonakilty are going to be tough beaten. But I'd say this will be an absolute cracker. I don't know which way I'll go myself. I just couldn't call it.
Yeah, both teams are playing quite well at the moment. Obviously, Clontown are playing well because they've yet to drop, or they've yet to lose a game. No, Drina have been. It sounds, from the sounds of things, they put in their first proper performance, and they had to away to Tor, and I think that's a real indicator going into it that if you're winning in Tor and away in Tor, you're certainly doing something right. Clontown, I won't say had it easy against Bunratty United, but a 7-2 victory says it all. Perhaps a stronger game or a more difficult game coming into this might have suited them, but I'm with you. I really can't call it, but I have a sneaky suspicion, based on the Tor victory, that Drina are going to nick this one, and that would put them joint top with Clontown, which wouldn't be the end of the world for Clontown, and would really set us up for a cracking couple of months coming into the winter.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see Jonathan Leahy there now. He's a serial goal scorer for Clontown. He was unbelievable for Loyer as well. But with the likes of JJ Collins now and Barry O'Driscoll centre halves for Drina, it'll be very interesting to see how they marshal him. It'll be interesting to see how Johnny gets on against them as well. It could be, Alan Ward in the wings will be dangerous. He could be taking on the Drina fullbacks. Drina fullbacks are young, so it could be a point of weakness there for Drina. But you have Barry Hawthorne then up front with Thomas Connolly for Drina. They test anyone. They're going to test any centre halves or any back four. So yeah, it's going to be a cracker. It could be very even, but if I was going to call it, I'd actually think it'd be a draw myself. But whoever wins this, it's going to be a big 3 points for whoever wins that game.
Indeed it is. And speaking of big 3 points, just very briefly, that game between Loyer Rovers and Bunratty at the bottom, obviously if Bunratty win it, it'll be their first 3 points of the season. But a win for Loyer, which would be their first victory, would actually take them up into possibly joint third. That's how tight things are, Mike.
Yeah, and you know what? The Loyer Rovers game, Bunratty game, is as equally big as the Drina and Clontown game. Bunratty have to beat Loyer at the weekend. They have to beat Loyer at the weekend. And if Loyer win, as you said, they'll go up to 4 points, they'll move up the table. But I reckon this will be a good game. The Bunratty team will like playing over in Loyer. They're a very, very young team that are used to playing in that pitch as well. So now I know Ballinascarthy have finished their football, and they might have a few big players back for Loyer. But I reckon this game over in Loyer now would be very, very interesting, and I wouldn't be surprised if Bunratty upset them.
Indeed, it looks like it could be a cracker. All 3 games could be very, very interesting indeed on the weekend. Just before we finish up, let's have a quick check of the O'Brien Water Services Championship games for the coming weekend. Skibbereen welcome Drina Rangers B to the Baltimore Road with an 11 a.m. kick-off on Sunday. Mizzen AFC host Castletown Celtic at 1 o'clock. Dunmanway Town B and Ulta Celtic play a local derby at 2:30 in Mona. And in Salan, in Ballivurny, Salan welcome the undefeated, unblemished record Riverside Athletic at 2:30. That last game, Mike, is the pick of them for me, because if Riverside Athletic are going to be tested, they're going to be tested by Salan.
Exactly. And we said it before, Ger, about how dangerous Salan will be at home, and how they're going to be very, very hard beaten at home. Now this is going to be a real test for Riverside Athletic. Riverside like playing soccer, they like keeping the ball down. they're going to be going up now to a Slan team where the pitch is very tight and the Slan team are very physical. So it's going to test Riverside Athletic. If Riverside win in Slan, they're going to earn it. Slan are no pushovers, and it's definitely the pick of the bunch in the championship.
Indeed it is. So another all-action weekend for football supporters everywhere. Remember, all the games you can go and watch any stage are free. There's no entry fee, and we're trying to promote the game as best we can through this podcast. But you can also follow the West Cork League on its official website, westcorkleague.com. If you search for West Cork League on Facebook, you'll find our official Facebook page there. And on Twitter, they're at West Cork League. As for this podcast, you just simply go to YouTube, search for West Cork League, and hit the subscribe button. We're delighted at the moment that the number of people subscribing is increased over the first 3 weeks. We're averaging about 200 listens and watches, which is fantastic considering we're only 4 episodes into it. So thank you very much for your support. And you can follow the West Cork League in the Echo every Wednesday and Friday, in the Southern Star every Thursday, and every week. Once you hit the subscribe button, this latest podcast from the West Cork League from myself and Mike will automatically appear in your feed. Thanks again to everyone for the feedback so far. Mike, it's another one done. Lots to look forward to this weekend, and we'll talk to you again next week.
Fair play, Ger. So, man.
Thanks everyone. Talk to you soon.